A week-long government shutdown is rippling through the nation's airports, closing at least one control tower and slowing thousands of flights. Here's what's happening and why it matters to travelers. The partial shutdown began on October 1, 2025, after Republicans and Democrats deadlocked over a funding bill, particularly money for health insurance tax credits. With no agreement in sight, federal agencies are running on fumes. Essential employees, among them air traffic controllers and TSA officers, must keep working, but without pay. Morale is low, overtime is mounting, and schedules are stretched thin. The Federal Aviation Administration insists safety remains paramount, yet the strain is already visible. On Monday, October 6th, the control tower at Hollywood Burbank Airport in California went dark for nearly 6 hours. A facility in San Diego managed the airspace remotely, but delays averaged 2.5 hours, and some flights never left the ground. The episode became a flashpoint. California Governor Gavin Newsom blamed the White House. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy pointed the finger at Democrats. The politics may be familiar, but the impact on passengers is painfully real. Burbank is the most dramatic example so far, yet staffing gaps are echoing nationwide. By the end of October 6th, more than 4,000 U.S. flights were delayed. Denver International saw 29% of departures pushed back, Newark, Liberty 19%, and Las Vegas's Harry Reid International 15%. Crews were stretched, controllers are exhausted, and every weather hiccup or equipment glitch now triggers longer backups than usual. Unions warn that the situation could deteriorate quickly if a sick-out takes hold, controllers calling in sick en masse, as happened during the 35-day shutdown of 2018 to 2019. For now, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association is urging its members to stay on the job while pressing Congress to reopen the government. Still, each unpaid day raises the odds people will stay home, whether for protest, exhaustion, or a second job that actually pays. The shutdown threatens small communities, too. The Essential Air Service Program subsidizes flights to more than 100 rural airports, and the Department of Transportation says that money could run out as soon as Sunday. For residents who rely on those flights for medical care, business, or simply reaching the nearest hub, the stakes are far higher than a missed vacation connection. What does all this mean for travelers right now? Check flight status early and often. Schedules can change by the hour. Allow extra time at security. TSA lines are moving, but fewer officers mean slower checkpoints. If you can, book morning flights. Delays tend to stack up as the day progresses. Have a backup plan. Weather, equipment, or one absent controller can ripple across the network faster during a shutdown. The longer the political standoff drags on, the more fragile the system becomes. Controllers keep the skies safe, but they can't invent hours in the day, and they can't ignore empty paychecks forever. Until Congress passes a funding bill, every takeoff and landing depends on people working under mounting stress. So, while lawmakers trade barbs over spending priorities, passengers see the real-world cost: longer lines, missed connections, and in Burbank's case, a tower gone silent. For now, vigilance, patience, and a few contingency plans are the traveler's best tools, because the runway to a solution still looks painfully long.
Welcome to AITV News. Today we're exploring the breakthrough that earned 3 United States-based scientists the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physics and pushed quantum mechanics from the realm of theory into technology we can hold in our hands. The prize goes to John Clark of the University of California, Berkeley, Michelle H. Deveray of Yale University and the University of California, Santa Barbara, and John M. Martinez of the University of California, Santa Barbara. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences honored them for the discovery of macroscopic quantum mechanical tunneling and energy quantization in an electric circuit. That description may sound dense, so let's unpack it. First, quantum tunneling. In everyday or classical physics, a ball without enough energy to roll over a hill simply rolls back down. But at the quantum level, particles behave like waves. There's a small but real chance that a particle can appear on the other side of the hill without ever going over it, essentially sneaking through the barrier. That improbable shortcut is called quantum tunneling. Until the mid-1980s, tunneling had only been observed in subatomic particles. The new laureates asked a bold question: could you make a human-scale device behave the same way? Working separately, yet along parallel lines, they built tiny superconducting circuits, still large enough to hold, that acted as single quantum objects. In those circuits, they observed both energy quantization and true quantum tunneling. It was the first time anyone had proven that quantum rules apply, intact, to engineered systems we can see. Why does that matter? Because it bridges the microscopic quantum world and our macroscopic one, turning abstract physics into practical hardware. Once you can coax quantum behavior out of a circuit, you can start designing machines that exploit it. The most talked about application is quantum computing. Qubits, the quantum counterpart of bits, can exist in multiple states at once, allowing certain calculations to run exponentially faster than on classical machines. John Martinez later led Google's Quantum AI Lab, which uses concepts rooted directly in this Nobel-winning work. Quantum mechanics could also revolutionize communication and sensing. Quantum cryptography promises theoretically unhackable messages, while ultra-sensitive detectors may transform fields from medical imaging to geology. One such device, the SQUID, short for Superconducting Quantum Interference Device, was pioneered by John Clark. A SQUID can measure magnetic fields millions of times weaker than Earth's, making it invaluable for brain scans and prospecting alike. The Nobel call still came as a surprise. To put it mildly, it was the surprise of my life, Clark told the committee, quickly crediting his co-laureates as brilliant people. Their collective achievement shows that the marvels of quantum theory are not confined to textbooks or particle accelerators. They can be engineered, switched on, and measured in the lab. By demonstrating macroscopic quantum tunneling, Clark, Deveray, and Martinez have laid the foundation for technologies that could shape the coming decades. Unprecedented computers, secure global communication, and new ways of probing the human body and the planet itself. The era of practical quantum technology is no longer science fiction. Thanks to this year's Nobel Prize winners, it has already begun. In an unprecedented shakeup, the White House has tapped one person to run two of the federal government's most visible agencies. Frank Bisignano, already the Commissioner of the Social Security Administration, has been named the first ever Chief Executive Officer of the Internal Revenue Service. He will hold both jobs at the same time. The brand new CEO post was created specifically for this arrangement, and unlike the role of IRS Commissioner, it does not require Senate confirmation. Bisignano will report to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who continues as acting IRS Commissioner, a position he has filled since August 2025. The result is an unusual three-tier structure: a CEO running day-to-day operations,
an acting commissioner above him, and no Senate-confirmed leader at the top. Who is Frank Bisignano? Before entering public service, he spent decades in finance and technology. He served as CEO of the payment processing giant Fiserv and held senior roles at J.P. Morgan Chase and Citigroup, earning a reputation for aggressive cost-cutting and rapid modernization. Confirmed as Social Security Commissioner in May 2025, he has pushed to overhaul that agency's aging systems, including experiments with artificial intelligence to speed up customer service. The administration says those same skills are urgently needed at the IRS. In announcing the appointment, Secretary Bessent noted that both agencies serve nearly every American, manage vast amounts of personal data, and rely on outdated technology. He called Bisignano a natural choice to sharpen the IRS's focus on collections, privacy, and customer experience. Not everyone is persuaded. The Social Security Administration is still working through years of staffing cuts and service backlogs. The IRS is simultaneously rolling out major tax law changes, modernizing decades-old computers, and coping with workforce shortages. Critics, including Nancy Altman of the advocacy group Social Security Works, question whether any leader, no matter how capable, can give both agencies the time and focus they require. By law, most taxpayer information the IRS collects is shielded from other agencies, including Social Security. With the same person atop both organizations, watchdogs worry that the firewall protecting that data could weaken. The job of IRS Commissioner demands Senate confirmation. The newly minted CEO role does not. Detractors see the move as a way to bypass a potentially bruising confirmation fight after a string of short-lived commissioners. Bisignano becomes the seventh person to lead the IRS since the start of President Trump's second term. The last Senate-confirmed commissioner was dismissed after just 2 months. Inside the agencies, reaction is mixed. Some IRS employees welcome a decisive manager who might finally push through stalled technology upgrades. Over at Social Security, several staff members say public praise for recent improvements rings hollow as they struggle with shrinking ranks and rising caseloads. Legal scholars are also weighing in. Because the CEO post never existed before, its exact authority, especially in relation to the acting commissioner, remains murky. Any misstep could invite congressional investigations or court challenges. The stakes are high. Together, the IRS and the Social Security Administration touch virtually every household, handle enormous sums of money, and steward some of the nation's most sensitive data. Whether one executive can steer both agencies and whether the arrangement survives political and legal scrutiny will become clear in the months ahead. For now, Frank Bisignano holds 2 titles, 2 offices, and 2 colossal sets of problems. Taxpayers waiting for refunds on one side, retirees counting on their benefits on the other. Washington will be watching closely to see if one man can deliver on both.